Millionaire is paralyzed when he sees his black ex in an unexpected encounter. Subscribe and tell us where you're watching us from today. The soft beeping sound of the hospital machines was something Dr. Mira Hayes was used to. It was like music to her ears as she walked through the hospital early in the morning. Her big brown eyes looked carefully at the patient's chart. On her finger, she wore a simple silver ring. It was a special gift from her mother when Mira finished school. She tapped the tablet in her hand, deep in thought. The emergency room at New York Presbyterian Hospital had been her safe place for 5 years. It was busy and sometimes scary, but it helped her forget the sadness in her heart. Suddenly, another doctor rushed through the doors. "Many hurt people are coming," he said, out of breath. There was a big car crash. 6 cars hit each other on the expressway. Right away, Mira stood up tall and pulled her curly hair into a tighter bun. "How long until they get here?" she asked. 3 minutes, the doctor answered. "At least 4 are badly hurt." Mira nodded and quickly walked to the trauma area. This was where she was strongest, where fast thinking could save someone's life. In this place, being calm and keeping her femurags inside helped her do her job. The emergency room got very busy as ambulances arrived. Mira moved quickly and told her team what to do. "Bring the ultrasound to Bay 3, she called. "Get 4 bags of blood ready for the driver." Hours passed while Mira worked. Her hands didn't shake. Her mind stayed sharp. She didn't stop until the last patient was safe. Then she finally let herself take a deep breath. The smell of her favorite perfume mixed with the clean hospital air. "Great job, Dr. Mira," said a voice. Mira froze. That voice made her heart beat faster. It had been 10 years, but she knew who it was. In her mind, she was back in Baltimore, young and in love, believing anything was possible. She turned around slowly. Cassius Moore was standing there. He looked just as handsome as she remembered. His honey-colored eyes stared at her with the same strong femurag they once had. His beard was neat, and his jaw looked tight like he was trying to hide his femurags. "Cassius," she said. Saying his name felt strange after not saying it for so long. "What are you doing here?" He took a step closer. He wore a nice suit, so different from her hospital clothes. She could smell his cologne, something that brought back so many memories. "I was at a hospital board meeting," he said. "The chief of surgery told me you were here." He gave a small smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. "I didn't expect to see you working like this. You were amazing." Myra's hand touched the necklace she always wore. Her mom once told her, "Never let them see you break." She stood up straighter. "Yes, the board meeting. You're here about the new surgical machine," she said. "Yes," he replied. "It's my company's newest invention. We hope it will help doctors during emergency surgeries. Your hospital was picked to test it first." Mira gave a small nod. After 10 years of staying away from him, fate had brought him right back into her life. "I read the reports. The machine is very good," she said. Cassius looked at her with care. High praise, coming from one of the best surgeons in the country. His voice was calm, but she heard something else in it, maybe sadness or anger. "We should talk about the machine over coffee," he said. Myra's pager beeped just then, and she was glad for the excuse. "I have patients to see," she said. Cassius smiled just a little. "Tomorrow night. At the Four Seasons Hotel. We'll talk about the machine." Just that. Mira knew it would never be just that, not with their past between them like a song that was never finished. "Fine," she said before she could stop herself. "But only as professionals." Cassius nodded. "Strictly professional." 8 p.m. As he walked away, Mira saw her reflection in the window. She was a strong, skilled doctor now, not the same girl who had once loved Cassius. She had built her life from pain and turned it into something good. But seeing him again made her wonder, were her walls strong enough to hold? Her phone buzzed. A message from her mom. Remember who you are, baby girl. You're a Hayes woman. We bend, we don't break. Mira took a deep breath. The clean hospital smell helped her stay in the present. Tomorrow, she will meet Cassis Moore for dinner. She would act calm. She would only think about the surgery machine. But even as she checked her next patient, her heart wouldn't slow down. It kept reminding her that some loves never fully go away. Some stories don't like to stay closed. That night, the hospital grew quiet. Mira sat in her office, looking at charts. But her mind was on Cassis. She glanced at a photo on her desk, her younger brother Smimirag at his college graduation. That picture reminded her why she left Cassis so long ago. She had made sacrifices for her family. It was the right thing to do. But as the lights of New York twinkled outside, she wondered, had it really been the right choice? The next night, the Four Seasons Hotel looked shiny and fancy. Its marble floor sparkled under the pretty lights. Mira stepped out of the elevator at exactly 7:55 p.m. Her dark red dress was very different from her hospital clothes. She remembered what her mom said earlier on the phone, "You're not that starry-eyed college girl anymore." And her mom was right. That girl disappeared the day her father died of a heart attack. Everything changed that day. Mira fixed the gold bracelet on her wrist, another piece of her armor, and walked into the restaurant. Cassis was already there, of course. He always liked being early. He stood up as she came closer. For a moment, his face showed something warm. But then, like always, he put on his business face. "Mira," he said, "pull Mirag out of her chair. You look beautiful." "Thank you," Mira said, sitting down. She was glad there was a table between them. "Shall we talk about the machine now?" Cassis smiled a little. Still direct as ever. "Wine first." "Just water," Mira said. "I have surgery early tomorrow." Cassis nodded and ordered one glass of scotch, his favorite from college. "But before we get into business, let's order food," he said. Mira didn't even look at the menu. She ordered sea base. Cassis ordered a medium-rare steak, just like always. "You were amazing today," he said after the waiter left. "In the trauma bay, watching you, you became what you always wanted to be." "Almost everything," Mira whispered. She sipped her water quickly. "Tell me more about the machine." Cassis leaned back. "It's called the Medicare X300. It helps fix torn blood vessels in seconds. That can save lives during big emergencies." "It sounds very helpful," Mira said, finally Femirag more comfortable now that they were talking about work. "But will it be hard for doctors to learn how to use?" "Yes," he admitted. "So we're making a training program. I'll be running it." Mira stared at him. "You'll be staying in New York?" "For at least 3 months," he said. "I'll be working with your team." Her thoughts raced. 3 months of seeing him every day? Could she stay calm that long? "The death rate from big injuries is still too high," Cassis went on. "This machine can change that." "But what about the cost?" she asked. "Not all hospitals can pay." "We made a special price plan," he said. "Hospitals that join the trial will get help paying for it later. I want this machine to help everyone, not just big hospitals." That surprised Mira. Cassis used to care mostly about big goals. Now he cares about people too. "That's good," she said. "People change, Mira," he said quietly. 10 years is a long time. The main food came, giving them both a break. But as they ate, they started talking about more personal things. "Your brother," Cassis said. "He graduated?" Myra's fork fell against her plate. Yes. How did you know? I saw the photo in your office, he said. He looks happy. He is, she said softly. He works in computers now, in Seattle. You must be proud, he said. I am, she whispered. She had worked so hard to help her brother. She had missed so much and cried in secret. But it had been worth it. Cassius put his fork down. You know, I looked for you after you left. Your phone didn't work. Your email was gone. You disappeared. Mira started, but he held up his hand. Not tonight, he said. Tonight is for the trial, the hospital, and saving lives. The past can wait. But the past sat between them like a guest at the table. It was in how he tapped his fingers when he was thinking. It was in how she still remembered how he liked his coffee. It was in the way his eyes looked when he was hiding his femirags. When the dessert menu came, they both said no. Mira reminded herself, keep it professional. That's the only way to survive the next 3 months. We'll send the full trial plan tomorrow, Cassius said as they stood up. We'll need to have regular meetings with your team. Of course, Mira reached for her small purse. She tried to look calm. I'll ask my boss to help with the planning, she said. They walked to the elevator quietly. Only the sound of her heels clicking on the shiny floor could be heard. As they waited, Marcellus turned to her. You know what I remember most from medical school? He asked softly, like he was thinking of something far away. You used to fall asleep on your big anatomy books in the library. You'd wake up with the pages printed on your cheek, get a little embarrassed, then start reading again. The elevator doors opened, but Mira didn't move. Why are you telling me this? She asked. Because some memories don't go away, no matter how much we want them to, he said. Then he stepped inside. Good night, Dr. Mira. I look forward to working with you. The doors closed. Mira was left alone, her heart beating fast. She could still smell his cologne, soft like a memory. She waited for the next elevator, her fingers touching her gold bracelet. It was a nervous habit she had picked up after leaving Baltimore. In the taxi on the way home, Mira looked out the window. The city lights were blurry and fast. Just 3 months, she whispered to herself. I can do 3 months. She was Dr. Mira Hayes now. She wasn't the young girl who had to choose between love and helping her family. She had built strong walls around her heart. Nothing could break her now. But that night, as she lay in bed, she couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the look in Marcellus's eyes when he talked about the past. He still looked hurt. She had left without telling him why. She thought she was protecting him from her family problems. But maybe she had only caused more pain, to both of them. Her phone buzzed. Text, trial plans are ready. Meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. with the board. Professional. Cold. Exactly what she asked for. So why did her heart feel so tight? Tomorrow would bring new things, new patients to help, new challenges. She would focus on that. Not on how her world felt like it was moving beneath her feet. When she finally fell asleep, she dreamed of honey-colored eyes and a love she never truly forgot. The hospital boardroom was full of quiet talking. Mira looked at her notes one last time. She had come early to feel calm before the big meeting. But the room already had signs that Marcellus had been there. His leather folder was on the table. A cup of black coffee sat beside it. He still liked it plain. Dr. Mira, said Dr. Victoria Winters, the head of surgery. Ready for the big presentation? Mira sat up straight. Of course. The trial plan looks good. Better than good, Victoria smiled and sat beside her. This could make our hospital one of the best in trauma care. She looked at Mira. I noticed something between you and Mr. Moore yesterday. Before Mira could answer, The room started filmirag with people, doctors and board members. Marcellus came in last. He wore a dark suit that made his honey-colored eyes shine even more. He looked right at Mira for a moment, then sat at the front of the room. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, his voice strong and warm. "Today begins a new chapter in trauma care." The presentation went smoothly. They talked about new machines, how they would test them, and when it would all begin. Mira tried to stay calm, but she was pulled in by Marcellus's voice and the way he still cared about saving lives. Then he said something that shocked her. "Dr. Mira will lead the surgical team for the trial." What? Mira hadn't agreed to that. "She's the best trauma doctor we have," he added. After the meeting, Mira walked straight to him. "We need to talk." He nodded. "My office is down the hall." His office was neat and fancy, with big windows showing the city outside. Mira closed the door behind her. "You can't just tell everyone I'm leading the trial without asking me first." "You're the best," he said simply. "The board already said yes." "That's not the point," Mira said, crossing her arms. "This makes things complicated." He put down his folder and looked at her. "Does it? You said last night we'd keep it professional. So, professionally, you're the right choice." His answer made her angry, mostly because it was true. "And personally?" she asked. He looked at her softly. "Personally, I think we both need answers. But you're the one who made the rules, Mira. I'm just following them." A knock came at the door. A young woman stepped in. Her badge said Madison. "Mr. Moore, your video call with Silicon Valley is in 5 minutes." "Thank you," he said. Then he looked at Mira. "We need to have project meetings. 3 times a week to start." "Fine," Mira said, heading to the door. "Ask your assistant to talk to mine." As she grabbed the doorknob, he said, "You still do that, you know." "Do what?" "Run away when things get too real." His words hit her heart. She turned and saw him standing closer than she expected. "I'm not running," she said. "I'm being smart." "Are you?" he asked. "Or are you just scared of the same thing you were scared of 10 years ago?" She felt her heart race. Memories came rushing back, late night studying, holding hands during tough exams, laughing when she burned dinner. The intercom buzzed. "Mr. Moore, they're waiting." "We're done here," Mira said quickly, mostly to herself. She opened the door and nearly bumped into a nurse. "Dr. Mira," the nurse said. "Multiple injuries coming in. Factory accident. 10 minutes. Relief filled Mira. This was her safe place, helping people in emergencies. "I'll be right there," she said. She was walking fast when Marcellus called after her. "Dinner again tonight?" To talk about the schedule. She didn't turn around. "I have a 12-hour shift tomorrow." "Then I'll bring dinner to your office," he said, smimirag. Before she could answer, her pager beeped. The trauma patients were arriving early. She rushed to help, trying not to think about how she still felt his eyes on her. The next few hours were full of fast decisions and hard work. Mira helped many patients. Late in the day, she sat down to write patient notes. Finally, her mind drifted back to that morning. Leading the trial was a huge honor. It could help her career a lot. But it also meant working closely with Marcellus, the one person who could see through her strong walls. Her phone buzzed. Text from her brother. "Hey sis, how's the big city? Still saving lives and skipping meals?" She smiled and typed back, "Always." Reply, "Seattle's rainy. But good. I met someone. Wish you could meet her." Mira felt a small ache in her heart. Her brother was happy, maybe because of the sacrifices she made. She should feel proud. But it still hurt a little. A knock at her door made her jump. Victoria came in with 2 cups of coffee. Thought you needed this after all those surgeries. Thanks, Mira said, taking the warm cup. So, Victoria said, sitting down, want to tell me about you and Marcellus more? There's nothing to tell, Mira said. But it felt like a lie. Really? Victoria raised an eyebrow. Because the way you two looked at each other, that's not nothing. Mira looked down at her coffee. It's old history. Sometimes history comes back when the right person walks in, Victoria said as she left. Just be careful, with your heart and with the trial. It's a big deal. Mira walked to the window. The sunset made the buildings glow gold and pink. Tomorrow, Marcellus would bring dinner. They would talk about the schedule, like professionals. She touched the chain around her neck, her mother's necklace. It always reminded her to stay strong. But every time she saw Marcellus, every time she smelled his cologne or heard his deep voice, it felt like her walls were falmirag apart. Her pager beeped again. Another trauma case was coming. She took a deep breath and stood tall. At least in the trauma room, she knew exactly who she was. Still, Marcellus's words stayed in her mind. Some things are worth pushing for. But after 10 years of running, was she finally ready to stop? A light rain tapped on her office window. Mira sat with trial papers in front of her. It was almost 7 o'clock, time for dinner with Marcellus. She had tried to cancel, but Madison, his super helper, had kindly refused. A soft knock. Then Marcellus came in, holding 2 bags of food. I remembered you love Lyra's sea bass, he said. You didn't have to, Mira said quietly. It's no trouble, he smiled, opening the containers. Back in the day, you survived on snacks from vending machines. She watched him move around like he belonged there. The trial schedule can wait, he said. Eat first. She sat down with him. The first bite of sea bass made her smile without meaning to. Marcellus smiled too. First trial is next week. We'll practice before doing real surgeries. I've been reading the plans, she said, reaching for her tablet. Stop, he said gently, placing his hand over hers. It felt warm. Just eat for now. Even after he moved his hand, the Femirag stayed. They ate quietly for a while. The city lights twinkled outside. Your brother, Marcellus said suddenly. He's in Seattle now? Mira tensed. Yes. He works in computers. Must have been hard paying for his school. I managed, she said quickly. I know you did, he said, looking into her eyes. You always found a way, even when it meant disappearing without a word. Before she could say anything, the office door opened quickly. Dr. Mira, someone shouted. There's a big accident. A bus and a big truck crashed on the bridge. Mira jumped up. How many people? At least 8 are badly hurt. Dr. Winters is Calmirag all the doctors. I'm coming, Mira said. She turned to Cassius. We'll have to meet another time. But Cassius was already standing and taking off his tie. I'm coming with you. My machine was made for accidents like this. It's a good time to see if it works. Mira wanted to tell him no, but she knew he was right. Fine. But you only watch. My rules. Cassius smiled. Of course. I'll follow your rules. When they reached the emergency room, it was loud and busy. People were running everywhere. But Mira stayed calm. She started giving orders. I need rooms 1 to 4 ready. Get blood ready for 8 people. Where's my ultrasound? Cassius stood in the corner, watching her. Mira moved fast and sure. This Mira was different from the one who had dinner with him earlier. She was a leader now, strong and brave. "First patient coming in," a paramedic shouted. A man, around 35. Chest hurt badly. "We think his heart vessel is torn." Mira looked at Cassius. They both knew this was the kind of problem his machine could help with. "Take him to room 2, Mira said. "And get Mr. Morome some scrubs. He's watching." The next hours were very busy. Doctors were working hard. Cassius watched from the side of the room as Mira tried to save the man. "His blood pressure is Falmirag," someone shouted. "We're losing him," the sleep doctor said. "Not today," Mira whispered. Her hands moved faster. "Give more blood. Show me the monitor." The machine beeped one long sound. "Flatmiri. Start hot massage," Mira said. "Push medicine." Cassius stepped forward. "My machine can fix the tear fast." "It's not approved yet," Mira said. She didn't stop working. "He's dying anyway," Cassius said. They looked at each other. Mira nodded. "Bring it. Now." Cassius ran to get the machine. Mira kept trying to save the man. When Cassius came back, he had changed into hospital clothes. "You've never used this before," he said quietly, walking close to her. "Let me show you." He stood behind her, gently guiding her hands. Mira smelled his cologne. She remembered the old days, when they were in school and he helped her practice sewing on fake skin. The machine turned on with a soft sound. Everyone watched as the tiny robot tools started fixing the torn heart vessel. "Please work," Mira whispered. "Please." Beep. Another beep. "We got a heartbeat," someone shouted. "Blood pressure is going up." Everyone smiled with relief. Mira stepped back. Cassius was still close behind her. She felt safe and nervous at the same time. "You did it," he said. "We did it," Mira answered, turning to him. "Your machine works." "It worked better with you using it," he said. He looked at her with soft eyes. "You're amazing, Mira. You always were." Mira felt her heart beat faster. They looked at each other. It wasn't just about work anymore. A nurse called out, "Dr. Mira, the patient's family wants to hear how he's doing." Mira looked away, glad for the break. "I'll go talk to them." "Dinner's probably cold now," Cassius said with a little smile. "Rain check," she said before she could stop herself. "Always," he replied. That night, after the chaos had ended and patients were safe, Mira sat in her office. Their dinner was still on the table, half-eaten. Her phone buzzed. A message from Cassius. The machine worked perfectly. It felt like it was made for your hands. Mira stared at the message. She remembered how his hands helped guide hers. They had worked together like a perfect team, even after so many years apart. It was risky, mixing work and old femirags. But she knew something now. Some connections never go away. Some people just fit together, no matter how hard you try to forget them. The question was, could she trust that femirag again? Or would it hurt them both? 3 days later, Mira and Cassius were in another meeting. This time, they were talking to hospital leaders about how the machine had saved a life. Everyone could feel the new energy between them. Something had changed. "The machine helped us fix the blood vessel faster than ever," Mira said, showing pictures. Suddenly, a sharp pain hit her chest. Mira grabbed the table. The room started to spin. "Dr. Mira?" Victoria asked. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," Mira said, trying to smile. But Cassius was staring at her with worry. She just needed water. She finished the talk, but her hands were shaking. She had worked too many hours without rest. When the room emptied, Cassius blocked her way. "When did you last sleep?" "I don't need a babysitter," Mira said. She tried to walk past, but her knees wobbled. Cassius caught her arms. She smelled his cologne again. "You do need help," he said. "Your patients need you to be healthy." "I have a driver," she said. "I told him to go home," Cassius said. He led her to the elevator. "You can fight me, or you can let me take care of you for 30 minutes. Too tired to argue, she followed him to his black car. The warm seat and smooth ride made her sleepy. "You always do this," Cassius said softly. "Work until you fall apart." "Someone has to save them," Mira mumbled. "And who saves you?" he asked. Mira looked at him. The city lights lit his face. She used to love watching him drive in school. "I didn't need saving," she said quietly. "Didn't you?" he whispered. "That night you left, I went to your apartment. You were gone. All you left was a note." "Cassius, don't." "3 days after you left, I got a call," he said. "They gave me money to start my company. The big chance. You knew, didn't you?" Myra's heart skipped. "How did you figure that out?" "It took years," he said. "But I knew you wouldn't leave without a reason. You knew I'd stay with you if I had the choice. So you left to take it away from me." Tears filled her eyes. "You had big dreams, Cassius," she said. "You needed freedom. Not a girlfriend stuck in Baltimore." "That wasn't your choice to make," he said. He parked the car in her garage and turned to her. "I had the right to choose." "What would you have picked?" she asked. "Would you have given up Silicon Valley? Stayed in Baltimore while I worked 2 jobs to help my brother? You'd hate me." "I would have picked us," he said. "We could have figured it out. Your brother could have taken loans." Mira said angrily. "Given up his dreams? After our dad died, I was all he had." The car went quiet. Then Cassius asked softly, "And now, Mira? What's your excuse now?" She closed her eyes. "I need to sleep." "Of course," he said. But his voice sounded hurt. "Running away again. You're good at that." She opened the door, but he was already outside, helping her up. The elevator ride was silent. At her door, she turned to say thank you. But the words stopped. He was standing so close. "Get some rest, Dr. Mira," he said. He sounded professional, but his voice shook a little. "We have the trial meeting tomorrow." He turned to leave, but Mira reached out and held his wrist. "Why did you really come back to New York, Cassius?" He looked at her hand, then at her face. "Some questions need answers," he said. "Some stories need endings. And some loves." He reached out and brushed her hair away from her face. Mira felt his fingers on her cheek. She wanted him to kiss her. But he stepped back. "Sleep, Mira," he said. "We'll talk when you're ready." She watched him leave, her heart beating fast. Inside her apartment, she sat down. She could still smell his cologne. Her phone buzzed. A message from her brother. "Remember what Dad used to say? Sometimes the bravest thing is letting yourself be loved." Mira started to cry. Because her dad had been right. She had pretended to be brave all these years. But she was just scared. As she fell asleep, one thought stayed in her heart. Was it too late to be brave now? Or was it time to finally open her heart again? Outside her window, New York lights twinkled. They didn't give her answers. But tomorrow would bring new work, new patients, and maybe a new chance with Cassius. And as she dreamed, she remembered his touch, and hoped that maybe endings could also be new beginnings. The next morning, heavy rain was hitting the windows of Laren's office. She had slept for 8 hours, more than she had in weeks. But her mind still felt worried. She kept thinking about what Marcellus said last night. Some questions need answers. Some stories need endings. There was a knock on her door. Victoria walked in. "Good morning. You look better." "It's amazing what sleep can do," Laren tried to smile. But Victoria didn't smile back. She looked serious. "We need to talk." Victoria closed the door and walked closer. "The board got a complaint about you using the Millionaire device during the big emergency." Laren felt like her stomach dropped. "But that patient would have died without it." "I know," said Victoria, raising her hand. "The only reason this isn't worse is because you saved him." "But there's more." She paused, trying to choose the right words. The complaint came from Everett Medical Technologies. Laren frowned. "Why would they care?" "Because they say the Millionaire device used parts that were stolen from their lab," said Victoria. "They're saying we broke their patent rules." Laren felt like she had been punched. If what Everett said was true, the whole project could be stopped. Worse, Marcellus could go to jail. "There's a meeting in an hour," Victoria said. "Board members, lawyers, and Mr. Moore will all be there. And since you lead the trial, you need to come." Laren nodded, femurag numb. Her brain was spinning. She had seen Marcellus build the device with his team. She couldn't believe he had stolen anything. Suddenly, her door opened again. Marcellus walked in. His neat clothes were a little messy, and his honey-colored eyes looked angry. "Have you heard?" he asked. "Just now," she said, standing up. She saw his tight shoulders. "Marcellus, tell me this isn't true." "It's nonsense," he said. His voice was angry but controlled. "Everett is just jealous. They've been trying to make something like this for years and failed. Now they want to buy us or make us partner with them." Madison came in behind him, holding a tablet. "Mr. Moore, Everett's legal team is Calmirag." "Not now," he said, rubbing his hair in frustration. "The board meeting is moved up," Victoria said. "Everyone is waiting in the big conference room." The next hour went by fast. It was full of big words and serious talk. Everett's lawyers showed their side through a video call. They showed charts, old files, and emails that they said proved Marcellus had copied them. Laren watched Marcellus during the call. His face didn't change, but she knew his signs, his jaw twitching and fingers tapping. He was worried. "These claims are not true," Marcellus said. "We made every part of the Millionaire device ourselves. We have proof." "That proof could be fake," said Everett's lawyer. "We are ready to make a deal. Millionaire becomes part of Everett. Mr. Moore can stay as a helper. And this whole problem goes away." "No," Marcellus said firmly. "I will not sell my company or my invention." "Then we'll see you in court." The video call ended. Everyone in the room was quiet. The hospital's lawyers started talking to the board. Victoria came to Laren and whispered, "We have to stop the trial. Just until we figure this out." "That device saved a man's life," Laren said. "It can save more." "I know you believe in the device," Victoria said softly. "And you believe in him. But we have to protect the hospital." Across the room, Marcellus was talking with his own lawyers. He looked up and met Laren's eyes. She saw something that scared her. Fear. When the meeting was over, she followed him to his office. He shut the door behind them and leaned against it, looking tired. "Tell me the truth," she said softly. "Is there any chance they're right?" "You think I stole from them?" he asked. His voice sounded hurt. "I think you're scared," she said, walking closer. "And I want to know why." He turned to the window, watching the rain. 2 years ago, Everett wanted to work with us. They said they were building something like our device. I said no. A month later, someone broke into our computer files. We didn't think anything was taken, but they looked at our old research. He turned around. "I think Everett stole from us, not the other way around." "Can you prove it?" she asked. "That's the problem," he said, sitting in his chair. "Digital records can be changed. It's our word against theirs. And they have more money and stronger lawyers." Laren looked at him and remembered the young man who had once dreamed of helping the world. "What do you need?" she asked. He looked surprised. "You believe me?" "I know you, Marcellus," she said gently. "Whatever happened between us, I know you'd never steal." He stood up and came closer. Something changed in his face. "You really know me?" he asked. His phone rang, stopping the moment. Madison's voice came through. "Mr. Moore, your lawyers need you on a call, and reporters are asking questions." Laren watched him put his business face back on. He fixed his tie. "I have to go." "I know," she said, walking to the door. Then she stopped. "Marcellus, whatever you need, I'm here." He looked at her, full of emotions she couldn't understand. "Be careful, Laren," he said. "Getting involved could hurt your job and your name." "Some things are worth the risk," she said, repeating his words from before. Her phone buzzed. A text from Victoria. "Emergency room needs you. Multiple trauma cases coming in." Real life was Calmirag. But as she ran to help, her mind stayed on Marcellus and the storm he was in. 10 years ago, she had left to protect him. Now, she realized something new and scary. She couldn't walk away again. The rain kept Falmirag, but inside her heart, something was starting to warm up again. She didn't know if it would grow into love, or be washed away by the storm. The next morning, the news spread fast. Technology blogs talked about the problem. News vans parked outside the hospital. Laren looked out her window and saw reporters asking doctors questions. Her phone buzzed with a text from her brother. "Just saw the news. Isn't that your trial? Are you okay?" Before she could answer, Victoria came into her office. "Turn on Channel 4. Laren picked up the remote. Her heart stopped. On the screen was Russell Everett, the CEO of Everett Medical. He was speaking at a podium. "We have proof that our ideas were stolen," he said, looking strong and serious. "Mr. Moore's company used stolen work. We will prove it." Then the TV showed Marcellus leaving his apartment. He looked calm but said nothing to the reporters. "They're making him look like a bad guy," Victoria said. "Everett's PR team is good." "They're lying," Laren said angrily. "Maybe," said Victoria. "But people believe what they see." She handed Laren a folder. "The board wants to stop the trial officially," she said. Laren opened the folder. It had papers she had to sign. "They also think you should stay away from Mr. Moore for your career," Victoria added. A knock at the door. Madison stood there, looking nervous. "Dr. Mira, Mr. Moore wants to see you. He's in the small conference room." Laren looked at the papers. Then at Victoria. "Tell the board I'll give them my answer later." She found Marcellus staring out the window. He looked tired and tense. "You look awful," she said softly. "Thanks, Dr. Hayes," he said with a small smile. "Everett's lawyers are trying to freeze our company's money." "Can they do that?" "They can try," he said, loosening his tie. "But that's not why I asked you here. Look at this." He pointed to his laptop. Laren leaned in. On the screen was an email chain from 2 years ago. "It's between someone in our company and Everett's lab," Marcellus said. "One of our junior researchers was giving them our secrets. But look at the dates." Laren looked at the emails. "These are before Everett says they made the technology." "Exactly," said Marcellus. "If we can prove these emails are real, it shows they were spying on us first." Can your lawyers prove it? They're trying. But Everett has money and friends. They could keep us in court forever. What do you need? She asked again. He turned to her. You need to stay out of this. The board is right. It could ruin your career. Stop, she said, stepping closer. I'm not walking away. Laren, he said, his voice rough, I can't let you lose everything for me. Like you almost lost everything for me 10 years ago? They looked at each other. He held her face gently. She thought he might kiss her. But instead, he leaned his forehead against hers. We're different people now, he whispered. Are we? She asked, holding his wrists. Or are we just better at hiding? Suddenly, there was noise in the hallway. Madison rushed in. Mr. Moore, Everett's team is downstairs. They want to meet now. Marcellus stood up, fixing his tie. Tell them. Wait, Laren said. Let me talk to them. No way. Think about it. They expect lawyers. But I'm a doctor. I've seen this device save lives. Let me help. He looked at her, eyes full of femarags. You're still the most stubborn woman I've ever met. Is that a yes? He turned to Madison. Send them to the main conference room. And get all the documents from the early research. The next hour was full of rushing and planning. When they finally walked into the room, Laren's heart was beating fast. But her voice? It was strong and ready. As Dr. Mira Hayes stood in front of Russell Everett and his team, she spoke kindly but firmly. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Mira Hayes, the lead surgeon for the Medicare trial, she said. She looked right at Mr. Everett, who had a very cold and serious face. Before you take us to court, I want to show you something, she added. Dr. Mira showed them a video of a big emergency surgery. This patient had only a few minutes to live. If we used the old way, he would have died. But the Medicare machine saved him. She showed more videos. And this one, she said. Mr. Everett smiled just a little and said, Very exciting, doctor. But sad stories don't change the truth. Your team still copied our idea. No, she said. But time stamps do. She nodded, and her assistant, Mr. Marcellus, gave out emails to everyone. Your company watched our research long before you said you created this. Can you explain that? Mr. Everett's eyes looked unsure for a second, but only for a moment. His lawyer whispered something in his ear. But Mira didn't stop. You have two choices. You can keep trying to sue us. And I'll tell the world how this tool saved many lives, and how many more could be lost while this is stuck in court. Or... She looked at Mr. Marcellus, who gave a small nod. We can work together. We can save lives instead of fighting. No one said anything for a while. It was very, very quiet. Finally, Mr. Everett spoke. You're either very brave or very silly, Dr. Mira. I'm a trauma surgeon, she said. I deal with life and death, not silly games. She looked him straight in the eyes. What are you going to do? Hours later, the lawyers had started writing papers to form a partnership. Everett's team had left. Mira stood in her office. She was so tired. Her body felt weak after all the stress. There was a soft knock. It was Mr. Marcellus. That was either brilliant or a little crazy, he said, Smimirag. Maybe both, Mira answered. Do you think it will work? She asked. Everett's lawyers are already writing a deal, he said as he walked closer. You saved my company today. I saved the tool that saves lives, she replied. But they both knew this moment was more than just about work. Mira, he said softly, what you did today, taking that risk. Some things are worth the risk, she said, repeating something he had once told her. Some people are worth it. Before she could say more, he kissed her. It was gentle, strong, and filled with femirags from 10 years ago. When they stopped, he kept holding her. We can't go back, he whispered. No, she said, fingers holding onto his shirt. But maybe we can go forward. Outside the window, the sun was setting. The sky over Manhattan was full of pretty colors. There would still be hard work ahead, meetings and challenges. But for now, in this moment, the wall between them was breaking down. And maybe that's exactly what they both needed. The next morning, Mira sat in the hospital coffee shop. She looked into her cup, thinking about everything that had happened in just one day. The kiss with Marcellus had changed something in her heart. There you are, said Victoria, sitting across from her. The whole board is talking about your meeting with Everett. That was quite the move. It had to be done, Mira said with a small smile. MHM, Victoria said, watching her closely. And saving Marcellus's company, just a nice bonus? Before Mira could answer, her phone buzzed. Text from her brother. Just landed at JFK. Can't wait to see you, sis. Her heart stopped. Oh no. No, no, no. What's wrong? Victoria asked. My brother's here. He's in New York, Mira said quickly. Her mind raced. He didn't know about the trial, or about Marcellus. He doesn't know. Just then, Madison walked up. Dr. Mira, Mr. Moore needs you in the partnership meeting. They're talking about the trial rules. Mira looked at her watch. The meeting was in 20 minutes. Her brother would visit her at the hospital first, like he always did. Everything from her past and present was about to crash together. I'll be there, she told Madison. Then she turned to Victoria. If a young man shows up who looks like he could be my brother, stall him. Victoria nodded. The conference room was full when Mira arrived. Marcellus stood at the front, looking confident. Their eyes met, and Mira felt a spark. Dr. Mira, Everett said, please walk us through the surgery parts. Mira went to the front and began. She and Marcellus talked together with ease, finishing each other's words. They made a great team. You two work well together, Everett said during a break. How long have you known each other? We met in medical school, Marcellus answered smoothly. Dr. Mira was the best choice for this role. Mira looked down, femirag how much his words meant. Then, suddenly, there was noise outside. Through the glass, Mira saw her brother's face. Mira, he called out as he came into the room. Sorry to interrupt, but... He stopped when he saw Marcellus. Wait, is that Julian? Marcellus's voice was soft. You've grown up. Everyone got quiet. Julian stood frozen, looking at his sister, then at the man he thought would one day be her husband. What's going on here? He asked. Everett quickly said, maybe we should continue this meeting later. Everyone left the room quickly, leaving Mira, Julian, and Marcellus alone. You're working with him? Julian asked, his voice full of hurt. Julian, it's complicated, Mira began. Complicated? He laughed. Like when you worked yourself sick to pay for my college. Like when you pushed him away even though you loved him. That's enough, Marcellus said gently. Your sister made hard choices to help you. I understand that now. Julian turned to him. Do you really? Do you know she never stopped? He looked at Mira. You never told him, did you? Julian, please, Mira whispered. Tell me what? Marcellus asked, walking closer. Nothing, Mira said, walking toward the door. She kept every article about you, Julian told Marcellus. She followed your success from far away. She celebrated for you even though she wouldn't let herself be part of it. The room was silent. You never stopped caring, Marcellus said with a shaky voice. Of course I didn't, she whispered. How could I? Julian stepped closer. I never asked you to give up your life for me, Mira. Dad wouldn't have wanted that. He wanted you to be happy too. She looked up, tears in her eyes. You are happy. You're in love. It was worth it. But at what cost? Julian said softly. The woman I love taught me that love isn't limited. You don't have to choose between family and happiness. Marcellus stepped forward, his warm eyes full of emotion. He's right. We could have done it together. We could have made it work. I was scared, Mira said. Scared I'd hold you back. Scared of losing you. And now? He asked. Before she could answer, her pager buzzed. Multiple trauma incoming. Car versus train. Julian gently said, Go save lives. But Mira, don't forget to save yourself too. Later that night, after all the surgeries were done, Mira found Marcellus waiting in her office. You've spent too long choosing everyone else's happiness over your own, he said. Marcellus, let me finish, he said. 10 years ago, you chose for both of us. You didn't trust me to love you enough to find a way. She stepped closer. I'm sorry. I don't want an apology, he said. I want your trust. I want you to believe we are stronger together. Real love doesn't hold people back, it lifts them up. Outside, the city lights sparkled. Mira had spent 10 years running. But now, maybe it was time to stop. I'm still scared, she whispered. Good, he said, reaching for her hand. Being scared means it's important. But this time, we face it together. As he held her hand, something inside her changed. The walls she had built were now turning into bridges. Maybe love wasn't about choosing between family and joy. Maybe love was someone who made both possible. In 3 days, they would sign the deal with Everett Medical. Everything was almost ready. The legal team had agreed on the rules. The hospital was excited about the program. But as Mira stood in an operating room doing a simple surgery, her thoughts were far away. Dr. Mira, a resident said, the patient's blood pressure is dropping. Mira focused quickly. Push another unit of blood, she said. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The backup power turned on. But something was wrong. The tools stopped working. What's happening? Mira asked calmly. All ORS are affected, a nurse shouted. Call engineering. Find Mr. Moore. Mira said. If this is in all the rooms. The door burst open. Marcellus rushed in wearing scrubs. The main server has a virus, he said. It's stopping all medical tools connected to the network. In the middle of surgeries? Mira asked in shock. Everett's team found a secret door in our system. They say it proves we copied them. This is crazy, Mira cried. We have patients on the table. I know, Marcellus said, moving beside her. We're working on it, but fixing it will take hours. Dr. Mira looked at her patient. The patient's body signs were getting better, but they didn't have the right machines. We need to finish this now, she said. Cancel all surgeries that are not emergencies, she called out. The next few hours were very busy. Doctors and nurses worked fast. Mira helped the other surgery teams to finish or stop their work safely. Mr. Marcellus worked with the hospital computer team to stop the computer virus. Everyone felt nervous. The hospital was full of tension. It was almost midnight when Mira finally got to her office. She saw Marcellus already there. His tie was loose and his hair messy from running his hands through it. How bad is it? She asked, closing the door. "Very bad," he said, looking up from his laptop. "Everett's team used the virus to get into our secret computers. They say we copied their medical idea. But we made our idea first. They changed the dates to make it look like they made it before us," he added angrily. "So now it's our word against their fake proof," Mira said as she sat down. "They just want to take everything from you." "It's more than just the machines," Marcellus said as he walked back and forth. "Everett's son is on their company board. He came to me 2 years ago to work together. When I said no, he got angry." "So this is personal," Mira said. "Yes, very," Marcellus replied. "I have to cancel the deal. If I sign it now, they'll take everything." "Your company, your machines, all of it," Mira said softly. "I'll have to start over," he said, looking at her. "Build everything again." Mira felt how big that was. He could lose everything he worked on for 10 years. It reminded her of a night 10 years ago. That night, she had to choose between staying with Marcellus or helping her brother go to school. "No," she said, standing up. "We're not going to let them win. Not this time." She went to her computer. The virus they used, it must have left some clues, right? "Yes," he said, "but their tech team erased them." "Maybe not all of them," Mira said. "Every machine in the hospital keeps its own record. We can check those." Marcellus's eyes lit up. "The logs. They'll show when the break-in really happened. And if it happened before their invention date, it proves they lied," Mira added. Marcellus picked up his phone. "We need to check every machine used today." They worked all night. They looked at data from every operating room and every hospital machine. By morning, they found the truth. Everett's team had broken into the system months before they said they made their own device. As the sun rose over Manhattan, Mira leaned back in her chair, very tired. Marcellus was talking to his legal team on the phone. "It's over," he said. "Everett's board is meeting now. With this proof, they won't go to court." Mira felt a big wave of relief. "So, no partnership?" He smiled. "Nope. But my company is safe. Thanks to you." She shook her head. "I just helped you find the proof. You built this company." He walked over and knelt next to her chair. "Last night, I realized something," he said. "What's that?" she asked. "You've always fought for me. Even when you left 10 years ago, you were trying to protect me." He took her hand. "But I don't want a future without you, Mira." His warm, honey-colored eyes looked into hers. "I'm not finished," he said. "Back then we were young. We didn't know how strong our love was. But now." A knock on the door stopped him. Myra's brother, Julian, stood there, smimirag. "Bad time." Mira started to get up, but Marcellus gently held her hand. "Actually, your timing is perfect." He turned back to Mira. "I was just about to ask your sister to marry me." Mira froze. "What?" "We lost 10 years," he said. "I'm not wasting another day." He took out a small box from his pocket. It looked old and worn. "I bought this ring during our last year of medical school," he said. "I kept it all this time." Tears filled Myra's eyes. He opened the box. Inside was a beautiful, vintage ring. "You kept it?" she whispered. "Some love lasts through time," he said. "Some hearts always remember where they belong." "Marry me, Mira. Let's build our future, together." Julian spoke from the door, his voice full of emotion. "Dad would be so happy right now." Mira looked at her brother, then back at Marcellus. 10 years ago, she thought love meant choosing one thing and leaving another. Now, she understood love builds bridges, not walls. "Yes," she whispered. Then louder, Yes. Marcellus slipped the ring on her finger. Julian laughed with joy. The morning sun lit up the room. Now Mira knew what her dad meant. Love is the bravest choice. Sometimes it's not walking away, it's staying, fighting, believing. 6 months later, Mira stood in her office at New York Presbyterian Hospital. Snow was falmirag gently outside. Her vintage ring sparkled in the sunlight, sending little rainbows across her desk. So much had changed, but some things stayed the same. The beeping of hospital machines. The smell of her favorite perfume mixed with the clean hospital air. A young doctor knocked on her door. "Dr. Mira, the Medicor trial results are ready for you to review." Mira smiled and took the big folder. After Everett's failed plan, their device had passed all tests. It had a 94% success rate in emergency surgeries. Soon, more hospitals across the country would start using it. Her phone buzzed. A text from Marcellus. "Meeting with investors running late. Still on for lunch?" She smiled and typed back. "Wouldn't miss it. Good luck, future husband." The words still made her heart flutter. Their wedding was in 3 weeks. A small wedding in snowy Central Park. Julian would walk her down the aisle. His fiancée would be there too. Their father would be remembered in the cuff Mirax Marcellus would wear and the bracelet on Myra's wrist. A loud sound in the hallway made her look up. Big accident on 5th Avenue. Lots of injuries coming in. Mira jumped up, her body ready for action. This was where she belonged. In the emergency room, everything was busy but organized. "What do we have?" she called out while putting on her gown. 3 very hurt, 2 more with smaller injuries. Just then, the doors burst open. Paramedics brought in a patient. "Big chest injury," one shouted. Mira worked quickly. Her hands knew what to do. Her eyes were sharp. "Get me the Medicor device," she ordered. "And call Mr. Moore. He'll want to see this." Hours passed fast. She helped one patient after another. When the last patient was okay, the sun was setting. She walked into her office and found Marcellus waiting. He brought food from her favorite restaurant. "Brought lunch," he said. "Though I think it's dinner now." "My hero," Mira said, sitting down. She was tired but happy. All patients are stable. The device worked perfectly. "I heard," he said as he opened the food. "The investors liked the new results. We start making more next month." "I thought the meeting was about the heart device?" "I thought the meeting was about the heart device?" "It was," he said with a smile. "But now they want both. Your smart ideas are making big waves." They had started working together on new medical tools. The heart device was Myra's idea, made from her years of surgery work. "Oh," Marcellus said, "Victoria told me something. About you becoming chief of surgery." Mira stopped eating. "She told you?" "No, but I saw the papers on your desk." "Still thinking," she said. "It means less time in surgery and more office work." "But you'd also lead the research team," he said. "You could help shape the future." He reached for her hand. "You were always meant for more than just the operating room." Mira squeezed his hand. She remembered when he had said the same thing in school. "I used to think I had to choose," she said softly. "Career or love, family or dreams. And now I know the right love makes you stronger. Everything I ran from before, it's what makes us perfect now." A knock came again. Julian peeked in, grinning. "Sorry. Mom's Calmirag about wedding plans." "Let me guess," Mira said, laughing. "She still wants that big ballroom in Baltimore?" "Nope. She's okay with Central Park now." But she has a lot to say about flowers. Some things never change, Marcellus chuckled. Like when she didn't want us to go camping in med school. She was right. We got lost, Mira said. But we found a waterfall, he replied, Smimirag. Sometimes getting lost leads you where you belong, she said. Julian laughed and waved. I'm out. Wedding planning dinner tomorrow. Wouldn't miss it, Mira said. Marcellus stood and hugged Mira. The snow kept Falmirag outside. The city lights began to glow. Her favorite smell, his cologne and her perfume, made a happy mix. The hospital speaker came on. Dr. Mira, the trial press conference is next week. Will you speak with Mr. Moore? She smiled. Tell them yes. We're doing this together. Marcellus touched her cheek. Together, he whispered. I like the sound of that, Mira said. You know what else I like? What? That some love stories never fade. That some hearts stay connected, even across time. She smiled. And that the bravest thing isn't leaving, it's coming back. He kissed her gently. Outside, New York danced with lights and shadows. But in this moment, everything was clear. Love isn't about picking one dream over another. It's about building them together. Stronger. Better. Side by side. 2 years later, the morning sun shone into New York Presbyterian Hospital. The trauma center had new shiny tools. Everything was ready for the future, and so were Mira and Marcellus. Dr. Mira Hayes Moore was standing at the nurse's desk. One hand was gently resting on her belly, which was a little round because she was going to have a baby. She was looking at papers with patient names when a young doctor came walking over. Her eyes were big and happy. The new heart machine is here from Medicare, she said. Dr. Winters wants to know if you can watch the first test. Mira smiled. She remembered when she was young like that doctor, excited to learn. Tell them I'll come in 10 minutes, Mira said kindly. As Mira walked to the research room, she passed a wall full of awards and newspaper stories. They showed all the amazing things the hospital had done. There was even a picture of the Medicare vascular device, which helped save people in emergencies and was now used in hospitals everywhere. Right next to it was something new, a photo of the Hayes Moore team. They had created a special heart machine that was very new and helpful. When Mira got to the testing room, people were already working. Victoria Winters, who was now the boss of all the doctors, was talking with the science team. There's our genius, Victoria said when she saw Mira. How's my godchild doing? Very active, just like their daddy, Mira said with a smile, patting her belly. Speaking of daddy, she began. And right then, Marcellus, her husband, walked in the door. His tie was a little messy because he ran from a meeting. Sorry I'm late, he said. The meeting took longer than I thought. He walked over and gave her a kiss on the cheek. Then he gently put his hand on her belly. Their wedding ring sparkled in the light. 2 matching rings that showed they were a team in life and in work. Uncle Julian sent baby pictures, said Madison, waving her phone from the desk. The twins are adorable. Myra's heart felt warm and happy. Her brother Julian and his wife had just had 2 babies, twins, 3 months ago. Their family was finally growing, just like they always hoped. Ready to make history again? Marcellus whispered in her ear. His eyes, the color of honey, sparkled with love and excitement. With you? Always, Mira said. The new heart machine worked perfectly, just like they knew it would. Mira and Marcellus had made it together. He had the big ideas, and she had the great doctor skills to make them real. They were different, but together they made something amazing, just like their life. Later that night, they walked through Central Park to their favorite restaurant. Snow started Falmirag all around them. Mira stopped to watch the snowflakes twirl under the streetlights. She remembered their wedding, right here in this park, 2 winters ago. "What are you thinking about?" Marcellus asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. "I'm thinking how the hardest choices sometimes take us to the right place," Mira said. She leaned back against him. "Even if the road is long." He laughed, and the sound rumbled in his chest. 10 years was a pretty long road, he said. "But look where we are now." She turned in his arms and smiled. "You're right. I'm chief of surgery, we've made amazing medical tools, and we're having a baby." She touched his face. "Everything we dreamed of back in medical school. But it's even better now, because we're doing it together." "And," he said with a big grin, "you finally admitted that I was right, we belong together." "Don't push your luck, Mr. Moore," she laughed. Their laughter filled the quiet park, mixing with the Falmirag snow. It was a happy sound, full of love and joy. They held hands and kept walking. Mira thought about how far they had come. They were once young students in love. Then they had to go separate ways. It was hard, but they both grew. Now, here they were, together again, stronger than ever. Some love stories don't go in a straight miry. Mira and Marcellus had many ups and downs. But all the hard times made them ready for each other. Now, with their baby growing inside her and their dreams coming true, they were starting a brand new chapter. Not just in hospitals and science, but in their own love story. A story that never gave up. A love that grew stronger with time. And in the end, that was the greatest invention of all. Now, here's a question for you. What would you choose if you had to pick between your biggest dream or being with someone you really love? Mira had to let go of Marcellus to help her brother and follow her dreams. But after 10 years, they found their way back to each other. Have you ever had to make a hard choice between something you really want and someone you care about? Do you think love happens at the right time? Thanks for watching. If you liked the story, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Check out our other videos too. See you in the next one.